Have you ever felt so intensely seen, admired, and cherished that it almost felt unreal, like stepping into a romance written just for you? The messages arrive endlessly, the compliments seem perfectly tailored to your insecurities, and the future is painted in bright, irresistible colors. It feels like destiny unfolding at lightning speed. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, why does something so beautiful move so fast? Why does it feel urgent, consuming, almost overwhelming? The human brain is wired to crave connection, and when someone floods us with affection, attention, and validation, our mind responds with a powerful surge of dopamine. That chemical rush does not simply make us happy. It creates attachment, anticipation, and a longing for more. In that heightened emotional state, our critical thinking begins to soften. We interpret intensity as intimacy. We mistake speed for sincerity. We assume that passion equals truth. Love bombing operates precisely in that fragile psychological space. It is not just about romance, it is about influence. When affection is delivered in excessive doses, it accelerates bonding before trust has had time to develop naturally. The brain begins to associate the other person with pleasure, safety, and emotional fulfillment. Real-world relationships typically unfold gradually, revealing strengths and flaws over time. Yet in love bombing, idealization happens instantly. You are placed on a pedestal, described as perfect, unique, irreplaceable. It feels empowering at first, even healing. Who would not want to be admired so completely? But beneath that admiration may lie a subtle strategy. Create emotional dependency before the other person can evaluate reality clearly. Psychologically, rapid attachment can cloud perception. When the attention is constant, you begin organizing your day around their messages. When the promises are grand, you start imagining a shared future before truly knowing the person. The mind fills in missing information with fantasy. Have you ever wondered why something that begins like a fairy tale can later feel confusing or destabilizing? The answer often lies in the speed. Genuine connection grows through consistency, respect, and mutual discovery. Manipulative intensity, however, seeks to bypass the natural rhythm of trust. And when awareness is absent, the very affection that feels magical can quietly become the foundation of emotional control. As the intensity deepens, something subtle begins to shift beneath the surface, though it may be difficult to name at first. The compliments remain, but they become intertwined with expectation. The attention continues, yet it feels slightly possessive. You may notice that your world is quietly rearranging itself around this person's presence. Friends receive less of your time. Personal goals feel temporarily less urgent, and your emotional stability begins to depend on the consistency of their validation. This is how psychological conditioning works in real life, not through visible chains, but through emotional reward systems. When affection is abundant, your brain associates the giver with pleasure and safety. When that affection is suddenly reduced, even slightly, anxiety begins to surface. You start wondering what changed. Was it something you said? Something you did, something you failed to be? This is where suspense enters the story of love bombing. The idealization phase often transitions into subtle devaluation. The same person who once described you as flawless may begin pointing out small flaws. The tone shifts from admiration to mild criticism, from constant presence to unpredictable availability. The psychological impact of this shift is profound, because your mind is still attached to the earlier intensity. You remember the pedestal, and now you work to climb back onto it. Without realizing it, you may start adjusting your behavior to regain that original affection. This dynamic creates emotional dominance. The manipulator controls the rhythm of reward and withdrawal, and the uncertainty strengthens the attachment even more. Intermittent reinforcement, a concept well known in behavioral psychology, explains why inconsistent rewards can create stronger dependency than consistent ones. Have you ever felt more drawn to someone after they became distant? Have you found yourself replaying conversations, analyzing small changes in tone, trying to decode hidden meanings? That mental preoccupation is not weakness. It is a predictable response to emotional inconsistency. The human nervous system seeks stability, and when stability is disrupted, it works over time to restore it. In love bombing, this disruption is not accidental. It is a strategic cycle of elevation and uncertainty that keeps you invested. The fairy tale slowly transforms into a psychological maze, where you chase the memory of who the person was at the beginning, unaware that the intensity itself was never meant to last. The most powerful turning point comes when you begin to see the pattern instead of the fantasy. Awareness does not arrive as a dramatic revelation. It often begins as a quiet discomfort, a subtle inner voice asking why love feels unstable. Healthy affection does not require you to earn it repeatedly. Genuine connection does not disappear the moment you assert a boundary. When you step back and observe the cycle of intense admiration, followed by emotional withdrawal, you begin reclaiming your clarity. Psychological awareness transforms confusion into understanding. You recognize that the early flood of affection was not proof of destiny, but a catalyst for attachment. You understand that dopamine can create urgency, but it cannot guarantee sincerity. And in that realization, something empowering happens. You stop blaming yourself. It is easy to internalize the devaluation phase and assume you were not enough. But what if the shift was never about your worth? What if it was about control? Manipulation thrives in secrecy, and it weakens in awareness. When you educate yourself about emotional conditioning, intermittent reinforcement, and attachment acceleration, you become less vulnerable to their effects. You start asking healthier questions. Does this relationship allow space for individuality? Is affection consistent, or does it fluctuate unpredictably? Are promises supported by steady actions over time? These questions are not signs of cynicism. They are signs of emotional intelligence. Protecting your peace does not mean closing your heart. It means pacing connection wisely and allowing trust to develop through observable consistency rather than overwhelming intensity. Real empowerment lies in slowing down what feels rushed. When someone pushes for immediate commitment, immediate exclusivity, or immediate emotional fusion, you can choose patience over pressure. Self-awareness allows you to separate chemistry from compatibility. It reminds you that true intimacy grows through shared experiences, mutual respect, and honest communication, not through theatrical gestures designed to impress. By recognizing love bombing, you are not rejecting romance. You are refining your standards. You are choosing stability over chaos, depth over drama, and authenticity over illusion. And when you anchor your self-worth internally, rather than in another person's fluctuating attention, emotional dominance loses its grip. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.